Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser. I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poseverse. Get to see the other angle. Still trying to figure out how I want to set up this new sweet camera that Mason from Comics and Crosses sent me. So let me know what you think about the angle and how much I should clean up all this shit behind me in the comments down below. But it's Monday, so you know what day it is. We're going to talk about the top 5-ish, and I think I'm at 8. Comics from last week's New Comic Book Day, that if you missed out, you should pick them up on this week's New Comic Book Day. So to find out what I was excited about from this last week, you'll have to wait and see after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, we got 8 books this week that I thought were pretty good out of everything that I got to read, and here we go. So our 3 honorable mentions that I'll give little quick blurbs on. From Image Comics is Second Chances #1. This is by Ricky Mamone, Max Berlatoni on art, and DC Hopkins on the letters. You get to see what it's like for somebody who offers to be a fixer for people who screw up in life, that he basically allows people to fake their death, gives them an out. This time he makes his promise to someone, and you realize that he may be in above his head. Interesting title. Very excited to check it out. The next one. We got a DC book making it in the list this week. We got Batcat #6 from Tom Taylor, Clayman, and Taneo Mori. I really like starting to see the relationship between Catwoman and her daughter at this point in time. You're starting to get more ownership on the actions of Selina Kyle in the direction of the Joker. And I really like kind of this little side story that's going on with Batman. I like that it's diving into Catwoman and the things that may be happening behind the scenes that we never really got to be. And then our final honorable mention from Aftershock is Beyond the Breach #2. This is by Ed Brisson, Damian Corsiero, Patricio Del Pesh, and Hassan Otsami Alhu. Another good book. I talked about it in yesterday's Final Order Cutoff video, because #3, if you want it, you need to order it today through your LCS. But we're starting to get a little bit more context, maybe, on what's happening in the world. That there's a wizard that shows up riding a tortoise named Turtle. We start to see maybe that there are some other survivors in addition to our main character, and I just kind of like the chaos of this world. It's a very intriguing story. The art is fairly striking in terms of the picture that they're trying to paint. So, 2 thumbs up. All right. Coming in at #5 from Boom Studios is Eat the Rich #1 by Sarah Gailey, Pia Spock, and Roman Titov. I was intrigued at the concept of this story from the very short preview that I got to read from Boom Studios, where you're starting to see kind of an outsider playing her way into her fiance or boyfriend's world of dealing with the wealthy, and you're just kind of wonder what's getting set up. And then it's literally halfway through this book, the sense that something's rotten in the state of Denmark kind of going on behind the scenes. So I'm really intrigued to see what happens in issue #2. If you missed out on this one, there's a second printing of #1 that also hits the FOC deadline tomorrow. So coming in at #4 from Image Comics is Radiant Black #7. Yep. By Kyle Higgins, Marcelo Acosta, Natalia Marquez, and Becca Carey. I really liked issue #6 because we got some insight into who exactly Radiant Red was, and this starts to set up the beginning of the next arc, where we just kind of figure out that they are time jumping away from their threats, and the art in this is absolutely amazing. So here's an example, let it focus for a second, of just kind of them time jumping from, the sky into the city, and then we get this nice kind of travel through space bit that I think is pretty sweet. I also like that this is de facto a wraparound cover, because now we get Pink, who is this the first appearance of the Radiant Pink? I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely think this is a really good book. It took until about issue 3 for me to just absolutely fall in love with it, but I'm totally vested now. Coming in at number 3, we've got our first of 2 Marvel books of the week. At number 3, we've got Moon Knight number 2. This is by Jed McKay. It's by Jed McKay, Alessandro Capaccio, Rochelle Rosenberg, and Corey Pettit on letters. So we get to see both more of the threat behind who is going to attack Moon Knight and the people of his city. We get to see a little bit more of his now assistant dealing with her new vampiric affliction, but we get to see what it's like in terms of the ability of people to deal with mind control. I also love when Moon Knight's just like, welcome to my head and let's see how dark and twisted I am. And this 2-page spread of just kind of, come on inside is ridiculously awesome to me. I love this series. It's definitely reinvigorated some interest in me checking out more Moon Knight in the same way that the recent Spider-Woman run is responsible for me falling head over heels in love with Spider-Woman. Speaking of the devil, coming in at number 2 from Marvel is Spider-Woman number 14. It is by Carla Pacheco, Perez, and Frank Diamarta. So this run has been all over the place. But it fundamentally stays around the idea that Jessica Drew is being kidnapped to help recreate the formula to deal with her disease, because now she finds out her brother's daughter may have it. And this one, you get more of that family drama, right? That in previous books, she gets a larger formula from the maker in terms of recreating the elements of how to deal with her genetic affliction. But what we find out here is that her brother may not be the one pulling all of the strings, that it's his brother's significant other who also works there, this woman with the sweet pink dreads. And we just start to get a lot of depth into this. I also like the idea that when Jessica and her friend were talking about, both of them kind of storming the building to steal back the plans, there is this kind of sweet dream sequence about, the two of them taking the baby along, and you just kind of see him kicking ass. And I thought that was pretty funny. It did finally set up kind of who the new big bad is at the end of this arc, that I think technically we get a first appearance of a new character in here, or a new mutation in here. But I've just been loving this arc. It's been a while since a book has been worthy of edging out some of these indies that I'm very wildly in love with, and this one was just quite... And then there was one. Hands down, our book of the week from AWA Upshot is Moths number 3. This is by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi. This follows the path of Emily, who is kind of a newly hatched, newly awakened of her powers. That's what the moth is, and she can deal with the power of empathy. And we're getting more into the connection between this and the Resistance Uprising storyline. But I'm going to scoot real close, because this book to me is just outstanding from the art. And Straczynski and Choi, I think, have worked together. I think that's the duo that is up on the Resistance Uprising. But just the level of realism that is in this art, it feels like I'm staring through, maybe a slightly colored photo album. But it's just absolutely fantastic. Number 4 is up for FOC. Today, I again talked about this video in yesterday's Final Work Cutoff video, but this is becoming the storyline from AWA that I've absolutely been thirsty for, right? That we've heard Axel talk about the idea of this shared universe every time he promotes AWA, and now we're finally starting to get a better series of breadcrumbs that just kind of walk us through the potential world that we're about to deal with. That this book to me is just the perfect combination of story and art that I think if this were the first AWA title I would have read, it would compel me into wanting to check out just so many more titles from them because of how amazing it is. So what do you think? How do our weekly picks match up? As always, if you're watching, you probably let me know what in the chat over here. I'm trying to figure out the new directions of the camera since I'm facing the other way. Let me know if there are books that are missing, books you disagree with. But if you're watching the rewind, we will chat as always in the comments down below. But I'm excited for y'all to see my pull list on Tuesday. I can't remember what I've got coming up the rest of the week except for my weekly Whatnot auction on Thursday that I just got done cleaning up my X-Men catalog. So if you're an X fan and you need some run fillers, then I got the auction for you on Thursday night at 8:30 Central, plus my other wild and random shit, because it's me. But as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by, and have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.